Clemson goes up to Boston College and wins 31-3. I'm going to unpack that in just a second, but first, thank you for joining me, Brian Knight, on Not Bobby Durkins, because I am not Bobby Durkins here. If you're new here, most likely you are, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications. Pass it along to anyone who likes Clemson football or just really likes college football, or maybe they just hate Bobby Durkins and want to see this this side of me. So I know this is a delayed video, but I still had to react to this. So Clemson goes up there after a top 10 matchup the week before that, going into Wake Forest, a double overtime win. Over the past 3 weeks, we've been missing at least 2 secondary members. The majority of the time, 3 out of the 4 secondary members. Yet again, really no one on major media is talking about missing that many players. They just kind of pass over it, but anyway, you can tell that really annoys me. But Clemson has Makuba this past week. They go up there, they hold Boston College to somewhere around what? It was somewhere like around 250 yards. 34 yards rushing on the ground, and if my memory serves me correct, that's for the second week in a row. 34 is a magic number. Of course, missing Brian Bresee again, but getting XT back, I'm glad to see him back. I know that he played only 6 plays, but he had 2 sacks, so I'll take that production any day of the week. The guy just, that 1 sack he had, I'm really excited about it because you could see the old XT speed. So kudos to him, and I hope he's back, and I hope he continues to get better. So what's the big deal about this game? BC has a lot of injuries. They really haven't been that good in a while. I know they gave us fits a couple of years ago when DJ was a true freshman. He took over for Trevor Lawrence because of protocol. And he won that game. The next week, lost to Notre Dame, but had the performance that had everybody salivating. And then, of course, last year happened. But BC has not been what they were with Matt Ryan. And I know that's been a while ago. What is really, really big, and I'm going to tell you, this is a preview to a video that I'm going to do after this, the state of Clemson football at this midseason point, because we're now at the midseason point. What do we see out of Clemson that gives us a lot of hope and actually makes me feel good about the rest of the season and our playoff chances and even a run at the championship? It's one word: growth. See, a Clemson team last year, or even the last 2 years that Lawrence was with them, would go to Boston College or play a team like Boston College, and they would either blow them out of the stadium or they'd play close with them because the game was just underwhelming. Clemson goes into this game. It's an underwhelming game. They're playing a 2-3 football team with one of those wins being Maine. You know, how intimidating. And they played fantastic defense. The secondary was tested. Dracovic threw 40 passes. And our defense came out and played well. And what excites me is, even, once again, this is not a good football team. Now, Drakovic's a good player. Flowers is a ridiculous player. Can you imagine those two on a really good team together? I think it would be something special, but Clemson came out focused. The first half was slow. Granted, it was slow, but they played really, really tough. The throws by DJ. DJ did not have a monumental day in the sense of he threw for 400 yards and 7 touchdowns, but he did come out and throw for over 200. He threw for 3 touchdowns, and the 3 touchdowns he threw were just unbelievable passes. It's just passes that you really don't see non-elite players throw. And he has, as I've said, I truly believe the guy's back. I could be shocked. I said this last week in last week's video. If the wheels come falling off and he goes down the tube, it'll be something that I've never seen before, especially in Clemson football. But I believe the guy is back, and I believe that there's some film going around of one particular throw that he made where he looked off the safety, and then immediately came back and threw the ball perfectly, and it was a touchdown. And then I know that there's some people out there going, well, he's supposed to be a top quarterback. That's what he's supposed to do. Yeah, that's what he's supposed to do. But in the past, he hasn't done it. And there's a lot of elite quarterbacks who's playing at schools everywhere who's not doing it. They're highly recruited, but they're not doing well. For whatever that reason may be, I am glad to see Clemson come into this underwhelming game and win. They beat a bad team bad. And that is what really excites me. So what do we see from, or what did I see from our defense? Well, first of all, Wes Goodwin has made some really good adjustments. He has backed off on the pressure when he's needed to back off on the pressure. He's applied pressure when he's needed to apply pressure, and then he's made some changes in his coverage to fit who's playing and who's not playing. So that's incredible. On the offensive side of the ball, it comes back to DJ being more comfortable. The offensive line is looking better. They're growing once again. There's that word, growing. So I'm really happy with what I've seen out of them so far up to this point in the season and what I saw out of them the other night. DJ did throw his first true interception. That's second interception of the season. For anybody out there who's just don't like Clemson, or you don't like me, or both, you're like, well, an interception's an interception. Okay. Good. But for anybody else out there who's not using their rear end to think, you understand that opposing coaches, NFL evaluators, they actually grade interceptions. So for him, they would say, hey, that was his first true interception, in the sense of he made a bad decision, he threw the ball, it got picked off. Okay. His first interception was a tipped ball, which, it hit the receiver's hands, bounced up, and got picked off. Even though that is an interception, that was not a poor decision by him. So, here we are, 6 games in, and he's only thrown 2 interceptions. So I'm very happy to see him grow in his leadership, his decision-making, and that he's making better decisions. He's making immediate, smart decisions. He's comfortable with the play calls. His receivers are catching for him. I'm glad to see Ngata getting back into things. I'm telling every one of you that I've been saying this. The receivers, we need them working across the board. If we get this receiver group going, and it's looking like it is, and we fix the offensive line, and it seems to be growing, the run to the playoffs is not only realistic, it's inevitable. So, barring they fall apart or a bunch of injuries hit us, it's inevitable we will win the ACC again. It's inevitable that we will play in the playoffs. How far we'll go there, that will really depend upon the same things that I just named out: offensive line, the health of our team, and I'll go into that more in another video. But it was good to see that with Boston College, and to see our team really execute. First half, I know they left points on the field. I know in the first half that it was 10-3 at halftime, but it was good to see Clemson come out and say, "Hey, let's put this to bed." Kudos to Boston College for fighting. They really did fight. They put up a fight. They tried, and just they were playing a better team, and that's what happens. But kudos to them. Jeff Hafley is a really good coach. I would say this to Boston College: don't fire him anytime soon. First of all, who are you going to go get? Second of all, the guy's a good coach. There's a lot of people who has a lot of respect in football who has a lot of respect for him. So kudos to them. But our Tigers are 6-0, and we're getting farther into the season. Next up, Florida State at Florida State. And the lines on that one is getting quite interesting. So we'll take care of that in another video. Thank you for joining me. I'm glad that I get to talk about good news, that the Tigers are 6-0 and that they're winning and that they're getting better. Do check out my next video I'm going to be putting up to where I'm going to go a little more in depth. Of course, I'm not going to bring out some board and break down each play. That's not my style. That's not really my forte. But I'm going to dive into what we have seen so far and why it's important to what's going on this season and our future. Thank you for joining me on Not Bobby Durkins. Pass it along to anybody who loves Clemson football or just likes to talk college football. I'll catch you next time. Go Tigers.